The Auburn Tigers sweep Eastern Kentucky at home at Plainsman Park on opening weekend. Let's talk about it on today's episode of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up and what is happening, Uptempo family, Auburn family? It's Blake and Dustin. We are here to talk some Auburn Tigers baseball. Dustin, it was opening weekend at Plainsman Park. The Auburn Tigers sweep Eastern Kentucky. It felt good, brother. It felt good to be back on the diamond. How did it feel for you, especially opening night, seeing the Auburn Tigers faithful show up and show out?
Yeah, man, I missed it. And how impressive is it, right, to see over 4,000 people on a night where you got to have a hoodie and a beanie at a baseball game? So really impressive, man. We've talked all summer or all off season, and the school has, Butch has, they put out so much content trying to really get people to understand, hey, we're doing upgrades. The baseball program is running on a high level right now. We need y'all to come out and support. We got to get back up to the upper echelon of the SEC. I actually have a program, Blake, from a game I went to as a kid, my very first Auburn game ever, 1997. And it says in there that Plainsman Park that year was ranked the second best college ballpark in the country. And at that time it was, it had all the bells and whistles, right? And over time, a new basketball arena, all that kind of stuff. You only have so much money at a university. NIL comes into play, right? You got to pay for that. Bruce wants his basketball only facility that he has rightfully earned. So there's only so much money to go around. You see all this money kind of coming towards the baseball program, being pumped into really getting this atmosphere, getting this park back up to SEC level. And it feels really good, man. I'm so proud of the fans for getting out there, creating that awesome atmosphere. And then something that the football team hasn't been able to do when awesome atmospheres show up is deliver. So you get the awesome atmosphere, you get some new faces that come to the ballpark to come and show out, and then you put on a show, Blake. Yep. That's the big part. And you're not Ole Miss, right? You're not coming out of opening weekend 2-2, wondering what the hell you're going to do. So a really good start, man, a fun night. Everyone loves runs. So you come out opening night and you 10-run roll a team, 17-6 and get the dub. So good vibes, man. And it's also, I thought about this too today. This is more of like a series thing as a whole, but it's got to feel good for the boys to work so hard. Because, Blake, tedious. The offseason for baseball is tedious. Yep. And to work so hard and to come out and see your hard work rewarded. You're 3-0 coming out of opening weekend. The very first game, you just kicked the crap out of Eastern Kentucky. It had to feel good for the boys.
Dustin, I'll tell you one thing that I'm really excited about, and that is Frank Thomas just getting involved in the program and everything that Auburn has created around his name with the statue and the Hall of Fame club, him being the only SEC baseball member in Cooperstown. That in itself is incredible. So Auburn really using that to their advantage and creating that Hall of Fame club, lowering the seats right behind home plate, really giving it that baseball atmosphere. That was one thing that we called for last year that kind of needed to change.
Yeah.
And the park just looks incredible. And there's many more changes to come. And I'm really excited about that. And then on top of that, the all blue uniforms, I mean, those are just filthy. They're filthy, and you put them on display opening night. The crowd showed up. I was so happy for Auburn baseball fans, and especially the students, because I think that's where it really starts. Is you got to get the student body to buy in, and this was the biggest turnout for students in school history, and you had the deck out there and you could see the beverages were flowing. They were having a good time. The music was popping. They were talking trash. I loved everything about it, and we decided to hit a little bit. So I think it was a great opening night, a great opening weekend. On that game 3, you had to let the folks get out of church, get them some lunch and everything. And everybody started showing up after that. Maybe second, third inning, people started rallying in. So it was a tough game time, 1:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. That's the reason the bleachers looked a little a little thinned out. So I was really pleased with Auburn fans showing up, Dustin. And we'll start there in game one. Chase Allsup gets the ball in game one, and we had talked about Chase really progressing and taking that next step, and him being a guy that Auburn could lean on this year. And he gets that Friday night start. What did you think of Chase's performance, and how can Chase build off of this in his first outing? Because we do have a big time tournament coming up in Jacksonville where he's probably going to get the Friday night start against a pretty good Iowa team. So how can he build off of this performance against Eastern Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean it's everything that we say here in this review because we're going to talk about some of the fielding errors, right?
Hmm.
It's all with a grain of salt because it's opening weekend. It was under 50 degrees, so that all being taken, that makes what Myers did on Sunday so much more impressive, right?
Hmm.
But we got to have Chase, and I think that it's crucial to point out just how much Butch Thompson believes in him, because we all know how much like Butch values pitching, and he knows what he's talking about when he talks about pitching. Um, so he tried this last year, and ultimately Chase wasn't able to find the consistency. And this year he's like, nope, he's the guy. He's got Friday night SEC starter, Major League Baseball, we being in the rotation stuff. So I'm gonna put him out there and I believe in him. And I think that that's a big part for Chase is like after the struggles of last year to have your coach like, bro, I believe you. I believe in you so much. I'm gonna put you out here on opening night because we all wanted to
Yeah.
see Gonzo, and we all know what Gonzo is, and we haven't seen Gonzo for a year. I want to see Gonzo. Butch knows, and I mean, there's a plan to that too, right? Having your
Mhm.
guy in game two and all that, but um, just I'm impressed from him coming out here and giving us, what do you get? 4.2. Let me pull up the box score. I think he
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
four,
Four and
yeah,
two thirds
four and two
innings.
thirds. Yeah. So I mean, I just the 3 earned runs, 5 hits, no bases on balls. So just with Chase, it's all about consistency, man. That's what it's all going to be about. The stuff is there. The stuff is electric. So the thing that I like with Chase is we see when he starts losing it, it goes downhill fast. He was able to kind of wade through some trouble and still get out, get us out of the innings and be productive and get us to the bullpen successfully. So, and in the future, what I want to see from him is obviously get to that 5th, 6th inning level, but he came 1 out away from getting you a start. So, all in all, man, there's really not a whole lot to point out and say, that was terrible. 2 or 3 months down the line, he's gonna have to improve off of this and build off of this because you're going to be in games, first Arkansas or LSU or whatever, where a couple of the mistakes, they might just cost you the game, right? Like
Mhm.
you really got to be on in the SEC when it gets down to it. But I'm not trying to be too hard on Chase. A good opening weekend, a good start. I think it's good because I think it's all Blake. It might be better for Chase that he didn't come out and just throw 6, 7 innings and light the world up. It might be better that was kind of one of these in the middle performances because there's some stuff he can have confidence on, but there's also stuff that he needs to look at in the week and say, I can build on that. I know I can, continue to improve that. So all in all, I think for his psyche, it's put us in a good spot.
Yeah, Dustin, my thing with Chase is I wanted to see the command. I wanted to see the control working ahead in counts. I thought Chase did that. He didn't put a lot of stress on himself. Obviously, the no walks and everything. He was throwing strikes. And
Right.
that was the biggest jump that I wanted to see from last year to this year. He fell behind in counts a lot last year. And I feel like he stayed ahead Friday night. He worked ahead. He threw his off speed. He threw his breaking stuff for strikes. I feel like he made about 6 bad pitches Friday night.
Yeah.
I'll say 6 bad pitches, and 2 of them got hit out of the ballpark.
Mhm.
All right. So I don't think it was a bad performance from Chase. In that 5th inning, we just made a couple of defensive errors, and it put him in a bad spot,
Yeah.
and you had to go to your bullpen. We cleaned that up. And I think this start by Chase Allsup is viewed a little bit differently by a lot of Auburn fans. I think it's viewed as a much more positive note because you get those outs, you get out of that inning, and it
Mhm.
doesn't look as blurry as it did.
Yeah. Good point.
So I think Chase is going to be okay, and you have a big opportunity if he does get the ball Friday night, which he, more than likely will against Iowa in Jacksonville at the Jumbo Shrimps Park. That's a minor league park. It's going to play big. Go throw it, have fun, stay relaxed. I think he come out Friday night throwing strikes. You can build on that performance, take it to Friday night, and have a night because you're going to face. I'm sure you're going to face their ace, uh, and he throws like 100 miles an hour and everything like that. So, uh, go sit them down. Like I don't think Iowa can hit that great. So they're a Big Ten club. I haven't watched them this year. I didn't watch them on opening weekend. I don't think they could hit great last year. I think they just won a lot of games off of old buddy who can throw a hundo. So you got a big opportunity. So go make it happen if you're Chase also. But I was really impressed with him. Now, the new lineup, Dustin. We're going into the new lineup. We got some new guys on the field. We got a new lineup. Chris Stanfield's now hitting in the sixth hole. Javon Hernandez, a guy that we heard a lot of rumbling about, and he couldn't stay out of the lineup and everything like that. He's now hitting leadoff. Mason Mainers is new in there, hitting in the two hole. He showed some pop Friday night. What do you think about some of these transfers? And in game one, how do you think this lineup was shaking out? Did you like the lineup? What did you think about Ike Irish, Chris Stanfield? I think it's a hell of a lineup, Dustin.
I thought it was just kind of funny what Ike did Friday from the standpoint of it's like, my guy Roy Jones, y'all know, one of the greatest boxers ever from my hometown here in Pensacola. He had a song called "Y'all Must Have Forgot," and that's kind of what I felt like. I like just in case y'all forgot, but just in case you didn't know what it was. I say it all the time, man. Ike should be playing double A ball somewhere at this point. I can't believe they're going to let this kid swing an aluminum bat for a couple more years. It's dangerous, bro. So he comes out Friday night and just lets everybody know I'm that guy. Does well behind the plate as well. For the weekend, kind of silence any of those doubts. Still got stuff to work on, obviously, but again, opening weekend. The lineup, man. You brought up a point yesterday when we get the home run from the DH in the 8-hole. And you're like, man, you got the DH batting in the 8-hole with power, man. Like, you got Stanfield in the 6-hole. And if Stanfield's going to add that level of power that we saw this week, he showed some power this week. And it wasn't just Friday night. Throughout the weekend, he hit some in the gap. Boy, like if he adds that to his game, it's deadly. And then our boy Cooper didn't have the best weekend. Look, the one hit he did get, you ain't finding the ball. The power's still there. And you remember last year, it took Cooper a couple weekends to kind of get rolling. He'll get going, right? So I just, dude, like from 1 to 9, Blake, it's super dangerous. And when you talk about the transfers coming in, we got used to our guys there in the middle infield. I got used to seeing Cole Foster and these guys. So when you have new infielders coming in and Bryson Ware over there at third, right? And then these new transfers coming in and holding it down, dude, and just putting on a show this weekend. You have the 7 through the 9 hole on Sunday just going off. Like it's this lineup, dude, is it's deadly, it's versatile, it's special. I mean, Javon Hernandez, like he had a day yesterday or Sunday. And Cooper Weiss doing his thing. And we were so excited for Cooper when he decided to come to Auburn. And again, I've been used to my guys over there in the middle infield for a little bit, and to see these new guys come in and Cooper Weiss let I'm that guy. I'm the dude. Blake, I feel like so last year we all kind of know how the season went. The pitching figured it out as the season went on. We really struggled in the bullpen. And we'll talk about the bullpen in a second, but the hitting was there, right, all year. It was just, can the pitching find it? This year, I think from top to bottom, this lineup's better than last year's.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be more consistent. I think there's power scattered throughout it. And I think it's a lineup that lefty, righty doesn't really matter. And you have a couple of guys. I mean, like we talked about with Zach, how do you prepare for Ike Irish as far as like shifts and all that? You're going to shift, so he's going to spray it over here. He's gonna spray the whole. It doesn't matter what you're gonna do. And we really got guys like that, man. I'm really excited about it. But it's hard to not look at it. I mean, he scored 17 runs, 6 runs, and then 9 runs. The 6 runs kind of being the one where you're like we look good, man. This is a deep lineup that could do a lot of danger.
My thoughts on game 1 in this lineup, Dustin. This lineup is awesome. The job that Butch did in the transfer portal, bringing guys in like Derek Fabian and Cooper Weiss and Javon Hernandez to add to the mix. You still got little Caden Green over there. All right, he played in game 2. You got depth. You got Gavin Miller. He was in the DH spot in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
You have pieces. All right, Mason Mainer's out in the outfield. He showed you pop early. He comes up and hits a double in the gap. He says, "Hey, I'm here at Auburn. I've arrived." So I mean, these dudes can stroke. You're getting quality ABs out the gate in week 1. That was the most impressive thing to me. Is in game 1 you were getting quality ABs. There wasn't no foolishness up there. We weren't sitting there chasing stuff in the dirt. We wasn't swinging at stuff in our eyes, anything like that. We were taking quality ABs game 1, game 2, and game 3. But game 1, Ike Irish, like you talked about, Dustin, this kid is incredible. We wanted to see more pop out of Ike. Well, guess what? Game 1, he said, "Hey, bang, here you go. Daddy's home." All right. That's over. All right. Over the hit now. All right. He said, "Let me clear it real quick."
Bad.
He's unreal. He is unreal. I made the tweet the other night. I think he's the best player in college baseball. I'm not here to argue about it. It's just, to me, it's simple. Chris Stanfield moves to the 6 hole, which is going to give him more opportunities to drive in runs. Obviously, Gabe Gross feels that Chris is ready to take on that role. And anytime Gabe, who's one of the best hitting coaches in America, anytime he makes a move in the lineup, I'm going to trust it because he knows it more than anybody, man. Like, the dude, they feed off that guy. And so when he put Chris in the 6 hole, I said, okay, well, he feels like Chris is going to start driving the ball. Chris is he's going to start hitting for power, and that's going to give him more opportunities with runners on base, and he's not going to be leading off and things like that. He's not going to come up after the bottom of the lineup and not have anybody on, which this year might be a little different. So,
right.
He shows the pop early and hits the ball out to one of the deepest parts of the field. Had 4 RBIs, just super impressive. Cooper Weiss, like you talked about, just a legit infielder, a legitimate glove to replace Cole Foster, one of the Auburn legends that we will remember forever. Had a lot of big-time moments, had one of my favorite moments in Omaha against Stanford. That was just big time. He was sick as a dog and hits the ball off the wall to bring us back in that game. Just super clutch. But Cooper can absolutely get it done with the leather. He can also get it done on the pads. And he showed that this weekend. So he's solid at the plate. You got Derek Fabian right there at third, the transfer. He finally got it going Sunday. He didn't play Saturday in game 2, but Dustin, this lineup, it's filthy. It's filthy. There's power all through it, 1 through 9. And I just feel like this team, I don't want to hear that it's Eastern Kentucky, because I feel like this team would have done this to anybody they played this weekend. Like, I mean, they were locked in. They were locked in because you look around the country at other teams and you see LSU in a 5-4 game with Virginia Military.
Right.
All right. You see Vanderbilt losing to FAU. You see Ole Miss going out to Hawaii. Ole Miss going out to Hawaii and losing.
So the Rainbow Warriors, baby.
Yeah.
Man.
So
down bad. Y'all gonna they forgot where Hoover was. I'll try to tell y'all they forgot where it was.
So you could have been one of them. All right. You could have been one of them. And You weren't. You were locked in. So
Mhm.
I was super impressed with this team, Dustin. And we look at game 2, and that one was 6-1. The bats were kind of quiet, but the big story in game 2 was getting Joseph Gonzalez back. Obviously, we waited 364 days. Last year, he only pitched that one game against Indiana. He absolutely shoved that day. Went like 5 innings on 50 pitches. It looked effortless, but we lost him for the rest of the year. It sucked because I feel like we could have done more damage than we did, but it happens. But we're glad to have him back. So, what did you think about Gonzo's performance Saturday in Game 2?
Them back to back, them double plays in the first and second inning
Yep.
are everything that Joseph Gonzalez is about. If he's not just absolutely on and have his best stuff, it's okay, because in one pitch he'll produce a ground ball and you could be out of a jam. It's just up to your infield to handle business. And when he got in trouble, that's what he did. Textbook Gonzo, man. Textbook Gonzo. We know that he's kind of on a little bit of a different calendar as far as how he's been getting ready for the season than the rest of the pitchers. He's been going hard for a little bit. They wanted to make sure that he was ready for this, that he didn't just, it wasn't what it was last year versus Indiana. So that makes me feel good too, to know that like he's been throwing hard. We're going to see him next weekend. We have nothing to worry about. This isn't going to be a situation like last year. He's got to be, for his confidence, and then for everybody in that clubhouse to see him out there pitching in an Auburn uniform again, being successful, and getting outs. It's huge, man. Ike Irish is the best player on the team, but Joe's up there. I mean, make no mistake about it. Before he got hurt, he was projected to go pretty damn high. He was projected to go so high that there was some rumors floating around all year about, did he do all this injury stuff just to go pro? Now he kind of dispelled that by coming back and saying, "I'll come back and show you," right? But that's just how highly he was projected to go. So he's a stud. He's the best arm that we've got in the entire pitching staff, and we got some studs from starter to bullpen. Joseph Gonzalez is that dude. If Auburn is going to make it to Omaha, there needs to be a healthy Joseph Gonzalez throughout the season, playing at peak Joseph Gonzalez level. And I think he's going to do it. I mean, like, you can never predict health. So, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx him right there. But just as far as giving you a full season of Joseph Gonzalez performance wise, I expect only more, right? Like, if this was a an SEC weekend and we needed him to go longer, he could have went a lot longer and gave us a lot more. So, man, nothing but like, I just give it. I know it wasn't an A+, but just looking at the result and the totality of it just makes me feel really good. Like, A+ performance. I really don't have a whole lot bad to say about what Gonzo did, and I'm just happy to see him back out there on the bump, bro.
Absolutely. You could tell there was a little rust there, but I mean, I'm not about to sit here and knock a guy for
Right.
364 days, and you only threw one game, and then we had another break. So it had basically been 2 years without him,
Right.
So I'm not mad about the performance at all. He worked out of jams. Was the command there at all times? No. But he's a ground ball guy. The sink action is absolutely filthy, and he's not going to give up a lot of hard contact. It's going to be soft. Anytime he's driving that baby in on them hands, getting weak ground balls, rollovers to third and short, double play balls, like you talked about, Dustin. And that's what I wanted to see from Gonzo, and we saw that. I was pleased. I was pleased with the bullpen. Zach Crotchfeld coming in, John Armstrong, just everybody in game 1, Tanner Bauman, Will Cannon, Herbert Holtz in game 3, everybody. I was pleased. I thought we pitched really, really well in all 3 games. Gonzo is the biggest piece, in my opinion. Like, if we want to go far, if we want to go to Omaha and not just go, we want to win it, we're going to have Gonzo. Now, obviously, Ike Irish and those guys in that lineup, they're huge pieces. But having that guy, having that arm, he's pitched in Omaha Wouldn't you like that on your roster? You
Right.
walking into Omaha and say, hey, the stage ain't too bright for this guy. He's pitched here. He's pitched here. So you've got that feeling. You've got that guy on your roster. He's finally back. He looked healthy. He looked like he was bouncing around on the mound, having a good time. He's a quiet fella, very quiet. Doesn't seem like, he gets as upbeat
He's
as
not Zach
others.
Crotchfield, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So he he's got that swagger that I was talking about on the live the other day, but it's a more toned down and he stays within himself type of
Tim
swagger. So
Duncan.
yeah. Oh, that's a good one right there. That Tim was a dog.
I just know I'm gonna be. I know I'm gonna beat you. I don't have to talk about it.
Yeah. So just having Gonzo back is really a plus from this team, and he's gonna grow on this. He's gonna grow on it. He's gonna get back to himself. He's gonna have the electric stuff. And Dustin, the bats weren't hot Saturday, but Bobby Barrels has come out of the gate and he's hitting balls a country mile, brother. I mean, Bobby Barrels is look, it's in the name, folks. He's barreling it up already. And I'm damn proud of Bobby Pierce. Him coming back, I think that was another huge piece, Dustin.
Yeah, for sure. Really kind of solidifying our outfield. And yeah, what did he have Saturday? He had 3 RBIs. And Cooper had the home run, and Bobby just murdered the ball. So yeah, 2 hits. Bobby's that dude, man. You know that Trey Donaldson and Bobby Pierce are my 2 favorite athletes on campus right now. So I was disappointed that nobody tried to run on him this weekend. It's been a little bit. I can't wait till somebody tries it. Somebody will try and fail. I'm begging somebody down there in Jacksonville from Iowa or whoever that doesn't know about it. I'm begging you, please try to round third and run on my boy next weekend because I got to see that hose. But as far as the plate, man, he did what he did. Did what he does. It's such a crucial. It was just when he came back, I was like, really? There's no way. I don't know why Bobby Pierce is not just sought after Major League Baseball scouts. I see a guy that can field, that can hit for average, that can hit for power. I don't. That's a leader. I don't get it.
It's got to be the injuries, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's had. Yeah, I forgot about that. He's had some significant injuries in his career, but he put together a whole healthy season. I mean, you got it right there to look at. So I don't understand, but stay healthy again this year, Bobby, and leave no doubt. Leave no doubt. And he's picking up right where he left off last year. Dude, he might. I think he's going to bat north of 350 this year, Blake. I think he bats north of 350, double-digit home runs, and is going to be one of the best outfielders in the SEC, if not the nation. Like, he's going to be he's an integral part of this team. Like the same thing what I said with Gonzo. You go into Omaha, you need a healthy Bobby Barrels.
I love it. I'll tell you right now, the biggest thing I wanted to see from Bobby was cut down on the strikeouts. And I feel like he was seeing it really well this weekend. Yeah. And the only reason I say cut down on the strikeouts is because I think he has the ability to kind of like this weekend. You might not hit it hard, but you can hit you can find those hits with them CNI singles. Just put the ball in play. Just put the ball in play a little bit more than you did last year in 2 strike counts. I felt like he K'd a little bit too much last year, but this year coming out week 1, Bobby was stroking, man. He was seeing it. He was seeing a beach ball, and he was hitting it back up the box. He was hitting it out the park. You'd just love to see that from one of the best players on your team and another experienced guy that comes back into your lineup. And it goes to show that this Auburn team is stacked, still not getting the love that we should from the media members, but it'll come. Right. Dustin, let's move on to game 3 before we wrap this thing up. Yes, and sir. I think this was a big question mark that a lot of Auburn fans were really wanting to see Sunday. And I think that question mark kind of got answered on opening weekend as Carson Myers goes 6 innings, 8 Ks, and only gives up 2 hits. Yeah, Carson Myers, Dustin, give me your thoughts on him.
Transferring over from UAB, he had good numbers, and he actually pitched at at one of the fall ball scrimmages I went to, and I said, okay, there's something there. And again, you pitch at UAB, and you have good numbers. It's not something that you can just shrug your shoulders at, right? Then UAB is not scared to play people. So, and obviously, he's played against Auburn before. Butch saw him and was like, "That's the guy I want," and that's why. And first off, man, as like I talked about earlier, my program from 1997, as somebody that like was a little kid at the Auburn baseball games, bro, like to see that picture of him as a little kid and then to come full circle and actually be playing for Auburn, that's awesome, man. To achieve a dream like that, that's just really cool to see. That's really what it's all about. Like that's just sports, man. That I don't know how you can't fall in love with sports when you see stuff like that. I don't know how you can't be in love with baseball when you see stuff like that. But the performance, man, there's nothing to say, Blake. They stepped up to the plate and he set their asses down. There's not a whole lot to critique. There's not a whole lot there. I mean, he did his job. I know he gave us 6, and I know that Butch talked about in the post game. He talked about how going back out for that 6th inning was really impressive to him. That Carson was like, let me come back out here and get this 6 for you, and then get you to the bullpen to the 7th, and you can set it up from there. And so when you look at Chase Allsup Friday, you say, okay, we've seen Chase on the Plains for a while. We know what we got there. We know where we got to get him. Good start. We already know what we got with Gonzo. He comes out healthy, looks like Gonzo, cool beans. So where's the question mark? Man, you're going to come into SEC series, Blake, where you're split. You win a Friday versus LSU, you lose a Saturday. Who's on the bump Sunday? If he's even close to that, because Sunday is where you really worry, right? Yep. Go back to our opening series last year versus Indiana. Got tattooed on a Sunday. And you will get tattooed on Sundays in college baseball because you get down to the nitty-gritty of your arms and things can get a little hairy. There's a lot of guys that this is the last level they're going to play college baseball, and, it can get rough. I'll leave the guy from Eastern Kentucky alone. I saw some ERAs from Eastern Kentucky, bro, where I was like, man, I wish my point guard was averaging that. I wish I had a point guard averaging that, but it's tough stuff, man. But for that to be what you get on a Sunday, if he gives you anything close to what he gave you in those 6 innings, Blake, boy, oh boy, because you know what you've got in your rotation. And I feel like, we hate it, but injuries happen, right? There are guys that in the bullpen that can step up into the rotation and get the job done. So I really like the depth from top to bottom, man. Like you go from rotation down to the guys that could be coming out of the bullpen, but what can be your midweek starters and all that kind of stuff. I think back to Mason Barnett, how he was a midweek starter. Some injuries happen, and then he comes in and makes it. I love our pitching depth. And for Carson Myers specifically, giving you 6 innings, only giving up 2 hits, only walking 1 guy and striking out 8. Bro, I don't have a whole lot to say about it, Blake. He was damn near perfect, but
A+. I was super pleased with how he threw strikes. He pounded the zone. He was in complete command of that baseball game. Just showed the fire, showed the energy, showed the passion. Every single pitch was locked in. A+ stuff. Stuff. Exactly what I was looking for. Then comes out in the 6th, like you mentioned. I believe he struck out the side and just couldn't ask for a better start to the season. Because, like you said, if you get anything close to that in SEC play, have fun trying to beat Auburn. Have fun. Like, you might get them once or twice, but I think this Auburn team is legit. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the person to come in and close that game out, Christian Herberholtz. All right. We're deep. We're deep. So, Christian Herberholtz was the guy that stepped up for us last year when we needed him the most.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not for Christian Herberholtz, I don't know what happens last year. So, you start going down that bullpen, and you put these 3 starters in there, folks, this thing could get dangerous. Carson Myers isn't going to blow you away with anything. He doesn't have the velocity to run it up there, but his stuff plays, it moves, it runs. I'm telling you, and that's the toughest to hit. It's the toughest to hit. I love how he throws. He throws the off speed for a strike. He's not afraid to throw it in any count. He's in complete control of his pitches, and I love that about Carson Myers. Like you said, extra special moment with that picture. I think that's what we all dream of as Auburn fans. So can't ask anything more. Christian Hall, another big time transfer over. I thought he put together great ABs this weekend. He hit his first home run as an Auburn Tiger. Derek Fabian showed up Sunday. He was a dog. He went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And once again, Cooper Weiss just kept on doing Cooper Weiss and him on the base pads. That's one big thing with Auburn this year as well. I tweeted it out a while ago that Auburn has the ability to steal bags this year. And that's something that they really weren't good at last year. They didn't have a lot of opportunities to swipe bags, but this year they can move on the base pads. Sam Robertson come in the other day, and he was swiping bags. You can see the speed, pinch run opportunities, doesn't matter. Auburn can take bags this year. So another area where they're really, really deadly. Dustin, I think we're in for a fun year. I think we're in for another winning year. I think Butch Thompson is that dude. I think the coaching changes on staff are going to play out in our favor. I think we're looking at some big time stuff from big time players on this roster, and I think we're going to see some guys go to the next level.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we've been doing it for a couple of years now, pumping out multiple guys, you know, getting them to the next level. You start to lose track of the names. And before we get out of here, I want to say to the students, you know, if we talked about over 1,000 showing up to the Friday night game, as we get into, I feel like, Blake, if they're going to do that for the Friday night game in February, then as we get into the summer and it's 85 degrees and you can be out there in your tank top and your short and maybe get you one of them little $30 blue Walmart pools and get you a little fold out chair, bro, and hang out, kick back and pour you a mixed drink or whatever it is that you're into, man. Really creating that awesome atmosphere out there. So I think that as the sun comes out and we warm up a little bit here, that is just going to be such an advantage for this team. Boy, I can't wait for the seats to get on top of the Green Monster. I know that's not happening this year, but that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So just overall, man, you couldn't ask for a better opening weekend, from the way the school did it to, like you mentioned earlier, getting Frank Thomas involved, and then the fans showing up, showing out, the students. You know, when Bruce came in, that's the first thing he did. He understood that Auburn basketball was down. He came in, he attacked the students to build that atmosphere, and now you see where the jungle is. It's a school. So the students is where it starts as far as atmosphere goes. A good start opening weekend in college baseball. I think it'll only get better at Plainsman Park as we get on throughout the season. So just excited about everything that we saw this weekend. You can look at some college baseball teams around the SEC that didn't have the best weekends. We're not one of those. So just don't let the momentum, you know, as we get into the midweek game here Tuesday night versus UAB, just don't let it get away. You know, don't drop a stupid game. I know the midweek games can get tricky, and people, there's the argument out there that they don't mean a whole lot, and they don't until they add up, until you've lost 4, 5, 6 of them, and then you're like, boy, we got some losses on here, and it's starting to look a certain kind of way, and then you start getting in conversations with all these other teams in the SEC that are having great years, and it could hurt you if you want to host. So let's go in here. Let's continue this momentum. Start off 4-0. But overall, man, this weekend was damn near perfect, dude.
I love it, Dustin. I love it. I'm excited. Like you said, let's go beat UAB. Yeah. Let's go down to Jacksonville, win a tournament, and let's get things kicked off and going and have us a hell of a baseball season. So thank y'all for joining us. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, the live show. Dustin and I will be talking some Auburn football like always. It's going to be a heck of a show. Come join us in the chat. Dustin, Close us out, brother.
Yeah, man. Y'all know the deal. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, go over to the warreportshop.com. If you have not, man, get some of that up-tempo merchandise. Go over to the Barn Supply Company. Use the link in the description. Go check that out. Help out our sponsors as well. We love each and every one of y'all. Like Blake said, we're going to talk some D-line. Let's talk about this trench work Tuesday night and all baseball season long. We will not stop. We do not care. We're dropping this Auburn baseball content. War Damn Eagle. We'll see you guys next time, man.
War damn, baby.